There's been a flurry of activity lately, guys. What's been the standout for you in the last couple of days?
I think there's obviously been lots of re-signings, but I think clubs were just dangling. It was pretty funny from some clubs. Like the Jai Arrow deal was done weeks ago.
Yep.
Lucky Croker was done a couple of weeks ago. Dallin was done. Dallin Watney-Lesniak was done So, but they just announced them around that November 1. I like it. It's a bit of theatre. It rolls in with nicely. So no major surprises for mine.
Well, the difference is now, right? November 1's a strict date now.
Yeah.
So previously you would have had talks going on in the background. So when November 1 came around, generally clubs, or some clubs are in position to announce some deals. It's going to be a bit slower this time because clubs haven't been able to go and negotiate with Jerome or go and negotiate with some of the Dragons boys who are November 1 guys. So I think it's been a bit tepid the start of November 1, but I reckon in terms of not re-signings but rival club signings. But I think that's going to kick off the next week or two. I just got a feeling leading into Christmas it's going to be pretty active.
And so if you're the fan of a club, let's say the Cowboys, for example, Tom Dearden is available now.
Yeah.
The longer he remains unsigned, the more concerned you get, or do you think there's going to be issues?
I think those players they're in line for massive payday. Like he's in line for a big payday. That's where it gets nervous for clubs, right? Where some other players that are on the market. Look at the Dragon, like Jaden Sewer, Moses Sully. What they're getting paid is basically their market value. So there's not that huge discrepancy. Yeah. There's some other guys that Ezra Mann, huge payday.
He's not leaving.
But he's in for a huge payday, right, compared to his current deal. So
I spoke to someone close to him yesterday, and they basically said, look, if just say he gets 800 out of Brisbane, which he'll probably get 800 grand, right, mate, for him to leave to say come to Sydney for 1.1 million, it's 300 grand difference. It's a lot of money, right? You lose half in tax. There's a higher cost of living. He's got to pay an agent's fee out of that. In the end, it's probably less than $100,000.
Yeah.
And to stay in Brisbane and win comps up there, which he has the potential to do, you would have to make Ezra Mam a monster offer to get him out of the Broncos. So he's one guy I don't think that'll be going anywhere. And he's obviously gone to market, but I think that's more circumstances. I think his agent's overseas, and it's just been a bit more difficult. But he won't be going anywhere. But there are some guys. I mean, Dearden's an interesting one, right? Because they've made him an offer, and the offer's been on the table, the Cowboys, for weeks now.
Yeah.
But it's just not enough. And they're in a really difficult salary cap position up there with Helam Lukey's going to market, even though he's got an option. There's some other guys. Who else was there? Help me.
I think Nanai's locked in, isn't he?
Nanai's locked in long term.
They've got an extra season out of Jordan McLean, which isn't going to.
But anyway, they've got some guys like Tom Alalo, Val Holmes on long-term deals, so they're really restricted in what they can do in terms of the salary.
The year after.
Oh, and the young Tongan kid who's, I'm not going to. He's in line for a huge upgrade in pay. So they've just got a lot of balls in the air, the Cowboys, and it just leaves them a little vulnerable.
Yeah.
And Dearden's a good footballer.
They're not going to be able to keep them all, are they, in that situation?
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
Reedy read an interesting column around Tomalolo.
Oh, the fact, he's got 4 years left on his deal, Jason. And I mean, that deal never goes over $1 million, but it's still, if he was on the open market now, what do you reckon he'd be worth, Mick?
Fine Fuaki, I think that's how I don't want to mispronounce his name. So
he's on minimum wage next year.
Apologise if I had, but
he's going to get offers over around the $300,000-$400,000 mark.
Easy,
which they would not have anticipated, right? That wouldn't have been in their thinking heading into this next year or the year after. Sorry, so they would have budgeted for him, but nowhere around the money that he's not a North Queensland boy. Grew up in Mile Hood, Ipswich. So
what do you do with Jason Tomalolo? 4 years left on a deal worth about 900, 950. His market value now would be 650, 700. If I'm looking for someone in the Cowboys,
put him out there,
I'd sell him. I'd try and sell him because he's valued. Some club will find there'll be value for him on the open market at 700.
Remember when Todd Payten tried to get that little bit of change in his game, and there was a little bit of angst around it at the time, and how to best use him. Is there a different way to use Taumalolo, or do you need that 60 minutes of him where it is, or do you lower the minutes and increase the impact? You know,
if you lower the minutes, you're just not getting value for money out of him, are you? I mean, the easy thing for the Cowboys to do, there was a club went through the front door to them, knocked on the front door of, spoke to the CEO and said, we'll take Luciano Leilua off your hands. It'll free up salary cap space for you to keep all these guys. And the Cowboys said no. Todd Payton does not want to let him go. That's the easiest way they could have fixed the problem. Yeah. Tom Leilua is a more difficult problem just because of he's got such a connection with the Cowboys. You're going to have to carry some freight for him. No one's going to pay his full amount. 4 years left. Whilst Leilua, the club that went to them, they were happy to pay his full wage, which is around, I think it's around $750 or something. So I just think Tom Leilua he's a difficult move for them.
Well, it was always an interesting signing, Leilua, wasn't it? Because you had Lukey and Nanai coming through, and obviously they invested long term, not a lot of money, but in guys like Ruben Cotter. So he's going to need an upgrade now. Who would have? They obviously saw the potential in him because he's.
He needs a massive upgrade too.
Cohen Hess is a contract.
One of the best value deals, isn't it? Jeez.
To be fair to the Cowboys, when they re-signed him, he was coming off massive injury problems. He hadn't played a lot of footy, so they put a bit of faith in him. But he's rewarded them over the last couple of years on a wage of significantly below what he's worth. So at some point, they're going to have to. Basically, he's a double your wage guy. So they've got to find this money.